Good afternoon. We are here today for our monthly Parks and Recreation and Community Services Commission meeting. Meetings are broadcast live on Glendale TV, viewable on Spectrum Cable, Channel 6, and AT&T Uverse, Channel 99. Meetings are also streamed live in high definition on the city's webpage, glendaleca.gov/live, on YouTube at youtube.com/myglendale, and on the Apple TV, Roku, and Amazon Fire devices using a free app called ScreenWeave and choosing Glendale TV from the menu. Meetings are also archived on the city's website for viewing anytime at glendaleca.gov/agendas. Please call 818-548-4013 for program schedules. DVDs of the proceedings are also available for purchase in the city's clerk's office. For public comments and questions during the meeting, please call 818-937-8100. Public comments on specific agenda items will be taken when that agenda item is discussed. If you have any questions about matters on the agenda or requests for assistance, please contact the Community Service and Parks Administration Office at 818-548-2000 during regular business hours.
I'll proceed with the roll call. Commissioners Alcazar.
Here.
Alfayan is absent. Meek is absent. Wolfson.
Here.
And President Sardarbegian.
Here.
Okay, the agenda for the September 19, 2022 regular meeting was posted on the bulletin board outside City Hall on or before September 16, 2022. Item 2, upcoming council agenda items.
Thank you, President Sardarbegian, members of the commission. We have a few items coming up in the next month. On September 27th, we have a agenda item for joint community, City Council and Housing Authority meeting. It's for the approval of funding recommendations by the Glendale Continuum of Care Board for the submission of the Glendale COC funding application to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development as part of the 2022 COC Notice of Funding Opportunity, the NOFA competition. On October 11th, we have acceptance of 2022-2023 Federal Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, funds to the Verdugo Workforce Development Board, and approved funding recommendations for Glendale Youth Alliance and City of Burbank. Second item on the 11th is the acceptance of LA County Department of Economic Opportunity funds in the amount of $268,000 to the Verdugo Workforce Development Board for youth employment services, and approval of the Verdugo Workforce Board's funding recommendations in the amount of $244,000 to the Glendale Youth Alliance.
Thank you. Next.
Next is item 3, commission staff comments.
Hi, I have just something briefly. First of all, I want to say I'm really glad to be back, but I'm sorry I missed last month's meeting. And because I missed the presentation about the Verdugo Wash project. And I think it's a great idea, and I hope that it becomes a treasured resource for our community. But I want to put in 2 cents of caution. We need to be very sensitive to the concerns that are expressed by residents who live in or own homes that are adjacent to the project. And it may be that people are sometimes overly fearful about change and new things. And sometimes, but we're not here to discuss the validity of their concerns. We have to make decisions that are best for most people, and sometimes we make recommendations that some people are really opposed to, and other times we make, we're able to please everybody, but usually somebody's going to be unhappy. But I just, in this case, I just want to make sure that we ensure that all possible steps are taken to make them comfortable with it. And I know Commissioner Sardarbegian brought up the possibility of having a police substation on site or nearby, and other measures that might make people feel more secure about this public access of this space right near their houses. And I just want to express my support for those ideas. Thank you.
My only comment is we welcome you back. We missed you. So next.
Next is item 4, oral communications. We don't have any cards or callers. Item 5, consent items. At A is approval of the minutes of the commission regular meeting held on August 15, 2022. And I do realize we don't have a quorum of members who were present at that meeting. If Commissioner Wolfson was able to watch it online, then you would be able to vote if you feel comfortable. Otherwise, we can move this item to the next meeting.
I apologize, I didn't watch the whole thing, and so I don't feel that it would be appropriate for me. Thank you.
Sure, we can move it to the next meeting.
Yes.
Item 6, report for information only. At A, workforce development section activity report.
Good afternoon, President, Commissioners. My name is Melissa Yunesian, and I am the manager at the Vertigo Job Center, and I'm here to report on the workforce activities. The first item I'd like to report on is our next City of Glendale's Tech Job Fair, which will be coming up October 19th from 3 to 6 p.m. This year we'll be having it in the afternoon instead of the usual mornings, and it'll be at the Glendale Library. And we'll be working with Glendale Unified School District and Glendale Community College on this event. We're hoping to get about 20 employers because of the space is limited. Usually in the past, we've had about 300-400 visitors. So we're hoping to get as many, if not more, this year as well. The next item is the report on the Life Wrap program. This is the low-income family excuse me, employment and rental assistance program, which was a part of the Measure S incentive. We closed out the first year serving 25 families. We were able to assist them with rental subsidies for 12 months, and majority of the families were able to actually save about 60% of the subsidies that we actually gave out. So that was very great, and 100% of them met their initial goal. All of them had goals in workforce investment, such as getting a better job or getting upgraded skills. We have started the second year of the program, and we have 39 families at this time. And finally, the last one is about the Summer Brush Youth Program, which we just finished. This was a 6-week program. It was for youth ages 14 to 17. There was 23 youth that were served that did the summer brush clearing. This is for youth that are either low income, foster youth, probation youth, and homeless youth. So that was funded by the board and LA County. Are there any questions for any of the?
Yes, I did have a question
Yes.
for you. Thank you so much for sharing this update with us. I feel like you went over the highlights of the Life Wrap program very quickly, but it sounds like a very successful program, and I wanted to clarify, is this funded through Measure S?
Yes.
Okay, great. And also, it sounds like there's another year occurring now with 39 new families. Is this something that will continue into the future? And if not, I just wanted to ask if there are opportunities to expand this program.
Sure. I apologize for going through it
That's
a lot.
okay.
I didn't want to take up too much time. So yes, you're right. It was very successful, and we do have, this is initially a 2-year program. It is funded through Measure S. We might be going back to council for the 3rd year, and it will be up to the city if it's going to continue on for additional years.
That's exciting. Okay, well, it's great to hear that, our local funds are going through a really great program. I know that long-term investment into, families is really how to get them into more stable situations financially, right? And
Yes.
build wealth to be able to improve the circumstances for their children as well. So thank you.
Yes, thank you. No? Thank you for your, yes.
First of all, I want to thank you for your report, and I also think all the programs are awesome. I love that the kids are clearing the brush and helping us avoid fire, and also the families are getting the support. And I was wondering, in terms of the Tech Week and other programs for workforce development, are you seeing as much participation on the part of job seekers? Because the labor market has gotten so tight.
Great question. We are not seeing as much participation, to be honest. It was really bad in the last 2 years. There was a little bit of a pickup, and then it went down again. We were seeing a lot of employers looking to hire, but then all of a sudden in the last month, we're seeing a lot of employers little by little trying to lay off, so we're not sure what that's going to look like, but I think it's starting to even out a little bit.
Okay, so maybe demand is meeting supply at the door or whatever.
Yes, yes.
Well, that's kind of good to know. Thank you
Yeah,
for that
sure.
answer.
Thank you.
My only question is for the tech fair, the job fair. Where is it advertised? Is it strictly to, the Glendale School District and, the Glendale College, or is it advertised out, open social, via social media and?
It will be open to everyone.
Okay.
We're working with community development, economic development, on the marketing aspect of it. So they are going to start advertising that. We're only working in partnership with GUSD and GCC in terms of making sure that we're getting employers that will assist the seniors who are maybe looking for summer internships, and we're trying to get the seniors out to the event. And with the GCC, we have a long time partnership with them and their career center, so for their students as well. But it will be open to everybody, and it will be advertised to everyone.
Sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Next is item 6B, Park Services Section Monthly Activity Report for July 2022.
President Sardarbegian, members of the commission, staff, good afternoon. My name is Kimo Cambia, Senior Park Services Manager for the City of Glendale, of course. I'm here to present to you our monthly activity report and PowerPoint presentation. So we'll get right into it. Park Services section completed 1,082 work orders for non-routine repair and preventative maintenance tasks in the month of July as follows. Groundskeepers completed 1,031 work orders. Pesticide applicator completed 3 work orders. Irrigation repair crew completed 48 work orders with a grand total of 1,325.25 labor hours used in the month of July. Next up is our PowerPoint presentation, and we're starting off with some ball field renovations, and we'll just get right into it. As you can see, we did about 5 fields there. Number 3 is 2 fields combined, Upper Shoal Fields 1 and 3. This is an overhead view of Babe Herman Field. This is what we started with. You can see the field's pretty dry, bare. It's in need of some TLC, so we went ahead and we got started doing some edging and some basic cleanup, getting ready for the next steps of aeration and overseeding. And you can see the guys here. There's a guy you can kind of see in the background doing some working on the transitions with our dethatching unit. Right here, you see that they already started with some of the aeration process with the little tractor in the back there. Better picture of it, getting through and aerating right before we put some seed down. Right there you see that we're prepped for seed. We got a bag of seed out there in one of our seed spreaders. We're getting ready to go. Got our delivery of top dressing material in the parking lot. Got the tractor out there getting ready to load up. And of course, we're loading up the top dresser, getting ready to go out on the field. Kind of a messy process, but we do clean up thoroughly after everything. So as you can see here, it's getting a little messy. Right there, we got our top dresser going. You can see it's getting started, starting to top dress and, all of the seed that we had spread out on Babe Herman. Right here is the finished product. This is actually a shot of about a week later after everything was top dressed and we've been irrigating, and you can see some of the seed is starting to come up on the infield there. Our next project was Montrose Little League baseball field. And pictures kind of start partway through the project. You can see the top dressing has already begun. It's partway through there. Almost finished. We'd already laid down seed. We worked on transitions and scalped it down. And so we're just top dressing, and this is the final top dressing pictures. And you can see complete top dressing. They're already irrigating the infield. Outfield's done. You can see that they're starting to irrigate the outfield there, just getting it ready to go. This project's a little different because you can actually see, once we get going here, some of the growth after about 2 weeks. You know, we got pretty good seed pop there. A lot of the seed came up, and it's actually doing really well now. So that's Montrose, and that's our end result there on the infield. Next one was Upper Shoal. This is mostly pictures of Field 3. This is where we started. You can see that all the turf's been scalped down. We're getting ready to work on some transitions and getting those renovated down and getting everything nice and smoothed out, so we'll be prepped for seed. You can see some guys in the background there working on those transitions. You see a lot of dust getting kicked up. And in the far left back there, you see them with the renovator machine trying to get through some of those rough spots in the turf. Here's a better shot of that, a little close-up. We do end up with fairly rough spots in the turf. This is one of the methods that we use to get all that built-up brick dust and everything out of that infield. What we'll do is we'll hook up our pressure washer, and we'll use some recycled water and blow all that built-up brick dust in our turf out back into the skin area. So here's a look at Field 3. Probably about a week and a half after we laid down seed and topped it, and you can see already seeds popping up. And this was about a week and a half after that, and look how nice that infield is. Very bright green, looks very good. That seed popped very well at Upper Shoal. Next one's Dunsmore Field, and there's just a few shots of Dunsmore Field, but I put this in there so you can kind of see the equipment that we kind of use. You'll see this is just part of equipment necessary to do our field renovations. There's actually a lot more trucks and hand tools and people involved, but you can see it looks like quite a bit of stuff just for one baseball field. When you look at it from far away, it's like, wow, that seems like a lot of equipment just for fixing turf, but that's what we do, and that's how we get it done. So that's the infield final finished product there once we got done seeding and top dressing, and they're just irrigating it. So now we'll just transition over from our field stuff to just regular work order stuff that we have taken care of some of our projects. This was Babe Herman Field. Chris Peplow, our other senior manager, went ahead and repaired this wooden sign. It was all rotted out from years of irrigation hitting it and everything. So he put some steel reinforced posts, redid it all in wood, and recarved it out, painted it, and made it look nice and new and pretty. So a new sign at Babe Herman. Bram Park, we got ready for putting up chain link fences as an extension to and an addition to the the T-ball field that we had just installed last year. So crews went through and they had to cut out sod and of course install decomposed granite in those areas and pack it down and get ready for the fence installers who came shortly thereafter and installed those fence extensions on the home and visitor sides of the field, as well as a shorter fence around the perimeter of the outfield there, so they know that that's where the outfield ends for the T-ball field. So you can see here, that's the fence company putting those posts in those DG areas, and that's your final product. It looks pretty good. So this is Brand Park. We wanted to kind of tap on a little bit of the vandalism that we experience. This is one of our main gates that went down a few weeks back. Somebody had driven through it that had got locked in the park. Unfortunately, this seems to happen kind of on a regular basis in recent years, maybe once a year, twice a year. But of course, the fence got knocked down. That's the way we found it. Police report was taken. But we were lucky enough to get help from facilities and our Public Works Fleet Maintenance. We got it all welded back up and back into place, so we're good to go there. But, you know, we also experience vandalism throughout our park system. Just to show you a little bit of it, this is Harvard, which was recently hit with a lot of graffiti. Our crews went ahead and cleaned it all up. Looks a lot better than it did before. Same thing with Pacific Edison. In this instance, you know, we weren't able to clean it off so much as we had to just go ahead and paint over it. Palmer Park, same thing. You got graffiti all over the skate park, around those areas there. Our crews went through, cleaned it up thoroughly, good as new. Glendale Central Library, and this is where we transition. They got a little bit of graffiti out front. We went ahead, cleaned it up, but also at the same time we went through and we did some plantings on the east side, which used to be the main entrance to the Glendale Library there. All those existing plants weren't doing very well, so we went ahead and changed up the palette slightly and installed some new stuff on that side. So next time you go there, you might see some new plants, and they're looking great. The guys did a great job and mulched everything in. You could see everything that they planted. Very nice. Looks a lot nicer than before. So up at Duke Majan, crews went ahead. We had to go and install concrete pads because we were installing bear-proof trash receptacles up there because they've been having troubles with the bears that not only visit the neighborhoods, but they also visit our parks. So we went ahead and we had to pour a few pads. The guys had to do some digging and had to install some concrete. And on those concrete pads, of course, they installed these bear-proof containers, and we were lucky enough to have walkways and places by the restrooms and stuff where we didn't have to pour concrete, and it was already existing, so we were able to install them there. Switching over to Emerald Isle. Emerald Isle, we were a little low on our wood chips, as you can see, so we went ahead and we installed playground wood chips at Emerald Isle. You know, it takes quite a bit of people and crews and equipment to get all this stuff in there, but Emerald Isle is a little tight, a little hard to get into that park to do this, but the guys were able to successfully get it done. You can see it came out really good, nice and fluffed up again at Emerald Isle. And last on my list, Nibley Park, we got some new tables, and this is a continuation of the picnic tables that were replaced at Verdugo Park. So we went ahead, we got delivery of those tables. You can see the old tables were really a shambles. We got rid of those, took delivery of these tables, and well, actually, this is the old tables going out. The new tables coming in were staged in the basketball court right before we were to install them. And you could see the guys taking that big forklift all around the park and carefully setting these tables down in place where they belong. And you see there, you know, really nice tables now in Nibley Park. It's looking real good. And that would be the end of my presentation. Any questions?
Oh, go ahead, sorry. Question?
I didn't have a question, but first of all, thank you for the report and for all that you guys, they do, keeping everything looking so great. But I was wondering about that, the gate at Brand Park where somebody drove through it. I mean, wouldn't that have done a lot of damage to their vehicle?
Absolutely, yes, I would think so. But, you know, I can't even recall a time where we've actually seen the vehicle that ran through that. So I'm assuming, you know, who knows what they're up to at the park and when they get locked in, and I'm assuming, you know, their car gets destroyed and they just take off and leave the scene. And
Wow, I guess it was worth totaling their vehicle to get out of the park.
I guess.
Wow, okay, thank you.
My question actually links to her question. why doesn't the city just tow vehicles that are left in areas where there's specific set hours, like parking lot structure, especially where there is a gate to go ahead and, lock up? Wouldn't that just kind of prevent things like this from happening, or is there a specific set of rules that we follow that we don't tow immediately?
Well, absolutely. The city has been working on towing vehicles and only in certain areas, and we should probably start concentrating on areas like this where this damage is occurring. As I can recall, just recently, we've had issues at Palmer Park, and we got involved with PD and communicated with them, and what they were doing is they were clearing that parking lot in the evenings and making sure all the vehicles were gone before it got locked up. A lot of it has to do with our private security company and them notifying PD that cars are there so that cars can be towed away in the evening.
I see.
Hi, I'm Gabrielle Golia,
Yeah.
Community Services Manager. I just wanted to add to Chemo's response with that is that many of our parks do have trails that are accessible from the parks. And we also have situations where a hiker may be delayed for some reason or other. We don't want to tow a car and then have them come down a little bit late and find that their car is gone. Although they are technically trespassing after hours, we certainly want to be cognizant of the fact that they might just be delayed for some reason. And we also like to pay attention to the fact that cars may break down. They may not start for some reason. So rather than just towing them out immediately, we do sometimes try to give it a day or two to follow up, and then we do file a report with the police department about an abandoned vehicle if it's still there. So it's a bit of a balance, trying to see if it's someone who is trespassing and will ram a gate, unfortunately, versus someone who we don't want to just take their car away from them at that moment and cost them some additional money for a mistake.
Makes total sense.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's it.
Thank you.
Okay, next on the agenda, 6C, Recreation and Community Services Section, Monthly Activity Report for August 2022.
Good afternoon, President Sardarbigan, members of the Commission, city staff. My name is Sabah Garabidian, and I'm the Community Services Manager for Recreation and Community Centers, overseeing the community centers of our department. So we're going to go over our events for August and some events that are coming up. First, I want to talk about National Night Out. We briefly spoke about it during our last commission presentation, but it wasn't included in our report. So National Night Out is a nationwide opportunity for police and fire to network with their communities and create a dialogue between the residents. It takes place on the first Tuesday of August every year. So this year it took place on August 2nd, 2022. In addition to a number of parks being National Night Out locations, Pacific Community Center, Adams Square Mini Park, and Nibley Park hosted events that the department assisted in one way, shape, or form. So at Pacific Community Center, we assisted with the actual event setup and the outreach component of that event. At Adams Square, our staff went out and provided a climbing wall, as you can see in the center of the screen. And then at Nibley Park, our staff went out and provided the LED screen for the evening movie that was displayed at that park. Next, I want to talk about senior services. During the month of August, our seniors celebrated their annual summer luau at Spar Heights Community Center and the Adult Recreation Center. We raffled off some pineapples to the seniors that were attending. The lunchtime celebrations are a key component of our elderly nutrition program. It's a way to increase socialization and have the people who are participating in that lunch program to come and talk amongst themselves, amongst the people around their tables. We do theme celebrations from a summer luau to a Halloween party to a New Year's Eve countdown that we count down at lunch instead of at midnight, and so forth. So these are some of the celebrations as part of our contract with the county to provide the meals for our program. Also, we had a presentation about understanding Medicare and Medi-Cal benefits. That's a virtual presentation. And our virtual presentations continue for our senior services program. We don't want our seniors to be forced to drive down to a facility to listen to these presentations, so we're just offering them virtually for the foreseeable future. Too many. So in terms of meals, as of August 2022, staff have served 4,644 meals in the hybrid congregate meals program and 1,813 meals per month in the traditional home delivered meals program. As we've discussed in the past, we have the hybrid program, which is in-person pickup and takeaway or in-person dining. And then we have the traditional home delivered meals program for those non-ambulatory seniors who are not able to leave their home. We provide 7 frozen meals per week, and we deliver them on a weekly basis. On August 12, our staff held its first program inside the Stone Bar Nature Center. It was a Friday night lecture, and it was Old Crescenta Valley in photos, featuring Mike Lawler as guest speaker. It had 32 participants. Mr. Lawler showed photos from the turn of the century, from the Prohibition era to the famous floods in the Crescenta Valley area in 1934, and the demolishing of over 100 homes to build that 210 freeway. On August 13th, staff held Riverwalk Workday at Glendale Narrows Riverwalk with 26 volunteers. August 20th, we had a Wilderness Workday at Duke-Majan Wilderness Park, and as of August, at the end of August, a total of 5,651 visitors have gone to the Nature Center since its grand opening. 354 visits were made in August. Youth and Family Services, during the month of August, TNADA continued meeting weekly at Pacific Community Center. Summer programs included video games, recreation, use of the recreation room, and board game challenge night. On Friday, August 12th, TNO had a presentation about healthy relationships with Anna Savadian from Foothill Family Clinics and keeping an honest line of communication. During the month of August as well, our STAR program participants got ready to return to school. Our officer responsible, our officer mentor, Officer Barrelette, responsible for the STAR program, talked to the students about attendance and behavior and being punctual in the mornings, not complaining to mom or dad or mom and dad about not wanting to go to school and being tired and waking up on time as a preemptive as school was about to start. On Tuesday, August 30th, STAR program held its annual graduation for 4 of its students who are graduating out of the program and moving on. Our Therapeutic Recreation program had a presentation about issues or common scams that are surrounding the Therapeutic Recreation program and informed the participants of what to look out for. Officers from Glendale Police Department came and gave out that presentation, and there were a total of 51 participants during that event, most of which are behind the camera clearly. Some upcoming programs and events. First is September 29. It's at Pacific Community Center. It's a community meeting where we want to hear our residents talk about what their priorities are and what they want for their neighborhood for the fiscal year 23-24 funding cycle. That meeting will take place at Pacific upstairs in the Sycamore Room from, I believe, 6 p.m. or 7 p.m. as the flyer states, sorry. And if you have any questions, you could reach out to staff at the Adult Recreation Center where our CDBG staff are stationed, or you could look at our website. Trails and Open Space has 3 interesting programs coming up. One is a talk on October 7 as part of our Friday night lecture series, the Adobes of Southern California. If you're not aware, we have 2 Adobes here in Glendale, the Catalina Verdugo Adobe and the Casa Adobe de San Rafael. So those will definitely be discussed. This event will take place at Casa Adobe de San Rafael. Next one is an interpretive sunset hike on October 22nd. And then we have Birdwalk on the Riverwalk on Saturday, December 3. Quite a bit away, but just want to get it out there. On October 21, Pacific Community Center's multi-use soccer field or multi-use field will be hosting One Glendale's Championship Night for a consolation and championship game for our One Glendale program. It will be the end of the flag football season. First game will kick off at 6:30. So the championship game will be kicking off at 7:30. Commissioners, all of you guys are welcome to attend. As we have the results from each game, we like commission to come and give out the awards to these students, whether it's a 4th place ribbon, a 3rd place medal, 2nd place medal, 1st place medal, and championship trophy. The event is sponsored this year through CV Choir, Curlin Job, Glendale Rotary, Glendale Community College, Glendale Unified School District, and USC Vertigo Hills Hospital, and of course the Glendale Parks and Open Space Foundation. And Positive Coaching Alliance is listed as a sponsor because they came and trained our coaches prior to the start of the season for about 3 days, teaching them positive methods of coaching our participants. The program had been silent for about 2 years due to COVID, and it's our first time back since everything has reopened. So we're really excited for this opportunity. Next, I want to talk about some upcoming Parents' Night Outs. There's actually a couple of more that we haven't listed here. The next one is going to take place in October, October 21 to be exact, at Spar Heights Community Center, and then October 28 at Pacific Community Center, and then one more time on November 18 at Pacific Community Center. Parents' Night Out is $15 per child. It's care from 6 p.m. to midnight. And some of the parents who go to Edison Elementary School, if they time this out correctly, they could drop off their children at 8 a.m. to school and pick them up at midnight, because between the after-school care and Parents' Night Out, they don't need to worry about children for the entire day. With that said, it's a great opportunity for parents to do whatever they want while we take care of the kids. We feed them, we entertain them, we engage with them with various games, while the parents could take care of chores, go out and do shopping, go out and enjoy themselves with their significant other out here in Glendale or wherever they want to go. Next, on October 22nd, we have our annual Fall Festival. That will take place at Pacific Community Center. Our pumpkin patch will return, along with some carnival games and some jumpers and a variety of department and community booths as well. And that concludes my presentation for the recreation section, if anybody has any questions.
A question?
I'll say something. First of all, thank you. It's so good to be back and to see everybody. And I'm glad to see that activities are resuming, which is really great. And but I'm wondering, are you seeing like effects of the fact that people have been shut in? And you mentioned this community meeting that's coming up, and I wonder, maybe we're going to see some feedback about that, about other services that people may need to cope with what they've been through.
Sure, President Sardarbegian and Commissioner Wolfson, that's a good question. In terms of the events that I directly oversee, it's more about we are finally free and we're coming out. So whether it's the extravaganza or anything else along those lines where it's free and open to the public, we've been having an overwhelming response. National Night Out at Pacific was an overwhelming number of people. Costco on Los Feliz in Atwater Village donated 400 hot dogs, all gone within a matter of 30 minutes. So when it comes to those types of special events, everybody's just putting everything that has been going on for the last 2 years aside and moving on with routine, so to speak. When it comes to community meetings, this is the first one that we're having actually in person. Until now, we've been doing it virtually, and I'm looking at Teresa. We had one last week. Oh. So I'll defer to Teresa, but I would assume the numbers are a little lower than what we've seen before, and it really depends on the topic as well. So some of it might be unclear. Decide what you want us to focus on in 2023, 2024. No matter how we advertise, it may not be as clear as there's some sort of an event or program or field or something going on that they might be a little bit more passionate about that they want to come and express. So
actually, that's kind of good news, because it sounds like people are resilient and they're not letting this be a cloud over their heads, which is good.
Any other questions?
No other questions.
Thank you, Commissioner.
And I think that concludes today's meeting. Thank you very much for joining us.